I woke up with some bad thoughts in my mind this morning. Not the usual bad ones, no. This time they were about the NBA and their pending plan to return to play. It's not at all that I don't want it, more so on how I'm worried about it collapsing. See, the thing is, I live here, literally minutes away from where the NBA plans to send hundreds of its players in a few weeks. I've been all around and through some of these places they'll be staying, and they're really nice and accommodating. This entire area and state is also very accommodating to COVID at rapidly growing rates. We're actually becoming something of an epicenter of the whole thing. As a matter of fact, in my county, where the NBA is coming, masks just became mandatory. Now, do I think any of this is going to stop the money machine that is the NBA and regular businesses? No. Nothing short of an asteroid, knock on wood, will stop this league from returning to play in my opinion. I think. It seems like the league is ready to return regardless of who's playing or not. If they have to roll out John Smith and David Miller, so be it. Not without reason though. See, I'm sure you heard if this season were to be fully cancelled, there's talk that the 2021 season would also be in jeopardy, meaning we would potentially be without NBA basketball until somewhere around October 2021, where we'd be kicking off the 22 season. That's all without mentioning the financial impact, the new CBA negotiations, blah blah blah. I don't think anybody wants that. So thankfully that's not likely. However, I woke up with some thoughts on what that would mean for certain players and situations. You know, just in the event that this growing hotspot was no longer deemed safe by July 31st, being that we're getting worse literally every single day and it's just June. Of course, they're saying it's a bubble environment, and with protocol, the players would theoretically be in one of the safest places in the country, like some mythical city, except for basketball. So again, I don't foresee cancellation, but in that doomsday scenario, these are some of the worst effects on players and careers I would see it having. Again, only the ones I woke up thinking about. I'm not doing this for the entire NBA and for every situation, it's literally just a few. We can start with the worst news first. LeBron's career would be dangerously close to cooked. Maybe. By October 2021, he'll be just 2 months away from turning 37 years old. Now, he's totally defied every logical aspect of aging thus far, as he's been in some conversations surrounding the best in the league since I was a 3rd grader and I'm currently pushing 25. But it does not change the fact that we have never seen Father Time lose a fight. It's undefeated. So regardless of if he'd still be as great as he is now, the fact remains that he'd have lost out on 2 potential championship runs by then, and who knows what the effects of an entire midseason would be. Sure, he'd be well rested, as would a lot of players, but not having played a full NBA game in well over a year, there'd probably be a rust factor there, and at that age, I would not count on seeing the LeBron we've been accustomed to. Even Michael took some time to really be like Mike after that first retirement. Of course, he did change his body for baseball and whatnot, so it's not exactly the same. Either way, if almost 2 years did have the expected negative effect on his production, that would be a very garbage way to end a career that may never be duplicated. What about a guy like Kevin Durant? When he injured his Achilles, my very first thought was, wow, we're not going to see this guy play basketball again until he's 32 years old. That was frightening, cause I had never paused to think just how long he'd truly been around for already until that point. In this worst case scenario, we wouldn't see KD play basketball again until he was 33 years old. And just for reference, he played his last game at age 30. That's kinda sorta significant when talking about a freak of nature we have no guarantee of seeing in our lifetimes again. That's also significant considering he was just on the cusp of writing a new chapter in Brooklyn. They'd already taken a risk by signing him on the heels of one of the most devastating injuries a player could have, so imagine hearing you wouldn't actually get to see that asset until it's aged multiple years on top of that. Also, with no real game actions have actually played himself back into form. That's scary for Brooklyn, and also terrible for a talent like him to have such an obstacle in writing possibly the most important chapter of his career. And while we're speaking of Brooklyn, Kyrie Irving. As a matter of fact, I believe both he and Durant have this one in common. Durant once said he could see himself retiring around age 35. Now, of course, who knows with the way everything is turned upside down since then, and I personally doubt he'd be calling it a career only 2 years after his return. Kyrie, on the other hand, he's totally unpredictable. He too revealed that he'd like to retire in his early to mid 30s. Now, he is less crunched for time. He wouldn't be turning 30 until around the end of the 2022 season. However, I've brought him up here only because on top of that declaration, he's recently revealed he'd be willing to give up everything right now for more important work. Of course, that's talk. We don't know what that actually means. But when I think about how much he's hated dealing with the media, his desire to retire relatively early, and that specific recent comment, I'm left to wonder how much Kyrie we truly have left. It's not insane to think that by the 2025 season, he will have moved on simply because he wanted to. It's not like he's financially bound to the NBA the way many players are. As a matter of fact, his current contract is up in 2023 when he's due to receive $36 million. Million. Capital M. So even if everything goes well, whatever contract comes after that, if there even is one, would likely be his last. Now, imagine being Brooklyn possibly facing this time skip where both of your star grabs will have basically missed the first 2 seasons of their contracts with no real guarantee that they have much basketball left in them afterwards. That's tough. Both of their current contracts end in 2023. Durant is actually an option, so of course there would be a ridiculous amount of details to be worked out on that end in this scenario, but with their mindsets, possibly not even playing until the 2022 season, I'd be sweating if I was Brooklyn at that point. Maybe even tougher than that is the Clippers' predicament, where they yet again find themselves in cursed territory. By many estimations, they were either the favorite or second favorite to win the title this year, which would have brought them their first in franchise history. Actually, it really would have brought them their first taste of any kind of success, considering this franchise has never even made the conference finals, and they've been across the hall from the second most storied franchise in league history. They've been like that sibling that gets no attention. Anyways, the tough part for them kind of already happened. Whether this season returns or not, I've been of the belief that there is no way to recapture the momentum anyone had when things were normal. Guys have been on break, they're going to be returning to no crowds, and as it currently stands, we're dealing with issues like one of their most important players, Lou Williams, being self-reportedly 50-50 on returning. So regardless of what happens, the conditions and situations are nowhere near as perfect for them as they were during the season in what looked like a championship run. They're not perfect for anybody obviously, but not getting a chance for the title at all this year would be just one curse in a line of many for them. But then if next season was erased as well, I mean, at least PG and Kawhi would only be in their early 30s, but also in this doom scenario, do you get this potent squad returning around them? Especially when you've got important pieces like Lou Williams who will be like 35 years old by that point. If this dark timeline happened, then the Clippers may very well have just lost their lightning in a bottle. And if the squad is not the same, remember, PG and Kawhi signed there for the short term, and we've seen proof that we have no clue what stars intend to do at a contract's end, given it is hard to see either of them leaving Los Angeles, but championship windows shut in an instant sometimes, and this theoretical time skip can only heighten the chances of theirs closing. And since we've already talked about LeBron, zooming out a little bit and just looking at this as a Lakers and Clippers type thing, we've kind of already lost what we had there. It was really the first time ever that both squads had absolute expectations to advance to the finals, although obviously being from the same conference, only one of them could. So even when they come back and play each other this year, that whole crowd factor that we were looking forward to, that's gone. And in this dark timeline where we don't return until October 2021, that rivalry may not be relevant. And who knows when we would ever get the Lakers and Clippers being in the same building, being this good, with players like LeBron and Kawhi on the opposite sides of the forces at the same time. Like I've said, most of this is already dead, but a time skip could only hurt it. And this last situation I really cared to talk about was Giannis, but to be honest, there's really not enough information out there about how this would go. He's supposed to be a free agent next summer, so obviously not even getting a shot at the title right before his contract year would be less than ideal for him and definitely Bucks fans. But nobody even knows for sure what would happen to next summer's free agents, or this one's for that matter, in this scenario. My best guess, just knowing CBA negotiations and such would be involved, would be that he would still somehow end up playing for the Bucks at least for the 22 season, before then getting a shot at free agency. I don't think the season would just return at the end of next year and boom, Giannis is a free agent without having played a single game since March 2020. As interesting as that would be. But hey, none of these situations have to come to that. Again, I was only even thinking of it just because I'm here and I'm watching the numbers and I'm hearing the news, and I'm also seeing multiple players getting cold feet about possibly even coming. It just kind of makes me wonder where we're setting records with COVID every day in the exact landing spot the NBA is supposed to be in over a month, and then hearing about the Disney workers possibly not having to adhere to the bubble rules or something like that. Look, like I said, when it comes to businesses and the NBA, money makes the world go around, so unless we're all zombies around here in about 2 weeks, don't expect any kind of cancellation. I fully expect the bubble plan to, for better or for worse, go forward. But hey, just in case, these are some things to think about if the bubble got canceled and therefore the 2021 season got canceled. That's a really large time skip. A lot of careers we care about get affected, a lot of players get affected, a lot of stories never finish, and these are just a few of them. I'm sure y'all can come up with tons in the comment section, so let me know how screwed up you think a theoretical time skip would get. Also, be sure to hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed the video, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a video drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.